Hello and welcome to My Existential Crisis, the podcast where we talk about all the things that make us question our entire sense of self. My name is Madison Epley.
And I'm Hailey Guffrey.
And Hailey Guffrey, how are you doing today?
God.
I feel like that's always the answer that you give.
Just God.
Yeah.
Like not, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm fine. Everything's fine. You know?
Everything's great. Right? Right?
Sure. Yeah.
What's not great?
I don't know. I wasn't cast in Clue.
I'm sorry, Guff Pop.
It's
Did
fine.
you just find that out today?
No, I told you.
Oh, wait, I knew that. That's
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
It's
I knew
fine.
that.
It's just sent me on a little shame spiral.
I know. You have a date and venue for your wedding.
I do, yes.
You got your engagement pictures back.
I did, yes.
I love them so much.
I think they're very nice. They turned out really good.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about our venue. It's gorgeous.
It is very gorgeous.
Yeah,
Things
it's
are
weird.
falling into place.
Yeah, I guess we're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
I was
which
seeing.
is amazing.
I went on the Knot website and it was like, here's a checklist
Oh yeah.
for all the things you need to do before your wedding, and it was like, we have 2 years until the wedding.
That's so nice though. You don't have to rush anything.
Yeah.
Like you can just
It was
take
like-
your time.
12 months before the wedding is when you should worry about getting a bartender, and I was like, oh, we got that.
Checkity check.
6 months before the wedding is when you should worry about catering. Like, I'm working on that right now.
Yeah, you're good.
So,
less for you to worry
and,
about, less for you to have to do later.
yeah, with all the money we're saving on the bar and my dress and probably the caterer, we'll have money left over for like a nice photographer, or like we can put
Yeah.
it towards our honeymoon or
That's so nice. Oh, do you guys have ideas on what you want to do?
pan-European trip, baby.
That's so exciting.
I
Like,
have
are there
to get my
specific places
passport.
you want to? Yes, you do. That you should start now.
I know. It's just, I forget. I always mean to do
know.
it, and then I forget,
This
and
is
then I
your
don't have the
reminder
money. And then
to
I
get
don't.
it done.
Well, I tried to go get it done, and they wouldn't accept my birth certificate.
Why? Are you not?
They
born
told
in
me
a-
I was born. So I'm a Navy. I was born on a naval base. And
How the fuck did I not know this?
I don't know, man.
Who was in the Navy? Was your
My
dad? in the
dad,
Navy?
yeah.
What?
Of course he was. Are you kidding? Why would you even, Madison? Do you
Haley,
think
I did
Linda
not know
Guffrey
this.
was in the Navy?
What?
Do you really think Linda Guffrey was in the Navy?
Listen, I don't know. All I know is that your dad is a Stanley Tucci lookalike, and he's in a band.
That's fair.
Like, I didn't know that he was in the Navy.
Yeah, he was in the Navy.
I had no idea.
Yeah, for like my whole
This is
formative
news
years.
to me. I've literally known you forever. This is news to me.
I thought I
Was he
swear
in
to
the
God, I thought you knew.
Navy when I knew you?
No. He had retired after that.
I literally had no fucking clue.
Well, I don't think he retired. I think he was in inactive duty.
Okay.
Question mark. So it was like, if they wanted him to come back, they could have him come back.
Okay.
Like, if
and
they
wouldn't
needed
accept
him.
your birth certificate? That's so strange.
Yeah, it was so weird because you'd think like it would have more standing being like a military birth certificate,
Yeah.
but the guy was basically like, "This is a decoration. This
The
is
fuck?
a memento."
What
And
the
I was
hell?
like, "What the fuck?" Okay. So then I had to try and find my birth certificate, and I got a letter from. I was born in Washington State,
I knew that.
and I got a letter in the mail, and it was like, this is it looks nothing like an actual birth certificate, so I don't know if they'll accept it. I keep meaning to go in and deal with it, but I keep forgetting. And I don't know if they'll accept it. And they basically, in a letter, told me... So, in the same letter, they sent me a birth certificate that does not look like a birth certificate at all. But I guess it's supposed to be like a birth record or whatever. And they also sent me something that says they cannot find my, like... any record of my birth in that area.
Oh, what the fuck?
So I'm like, I have no idea where my birth certificate would be. I have no
my
idea
gosh.
where to find myself. Maybe I just don't exist and this has all been a dream.
That would explain a lot.
That would be crazy, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean,
That's wild.
I gotta get that
I
done.
had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know how you didn't know.
I don't know how I didn't know either. I didn't
Yeah,
know
sorry.
about Stanley Tucci's famed naval career.
No, I guess not. Man was on a submarine and everything.
What the fuck? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Hailey.
Yes.
I shit you not. This question was the first thing that I saw David and his parents like argue and debate in front of. The day that I met them, this question came up.
Okay.
How do you look through a periscope? And your dad would know how you look through a periscope.
Is that like a submarine telescope or whatever?
Yes. How do you look through a periscope?
I don't know. You pull it down and look through it.
You pull it down and you look through it, right?
Yeah.
David's dad, again, this is over 3 years. The day I met them, they were arguing about this. He says you pull it up from the ground.
Oh, I have no idea.
You have to ask your dad.
Let's shoot Michael a message and figure it out.
Okay, like, I love David's dad so much, but my guy scoured the internet looking for videos, and he was able to find one where it pulled up. But everything you see, it pulls down.
My dad's gonna think I'm an idiot because I'm asking this question, but it's fine. Madison, you're gonna be so upset.
Why? Does it come from the bottom?
Because the periscope, yeah, it does. It comes up through a hole in the floor.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. Yeah, no, he just texted me and said it's hydraulic. Speechless. It comes up from a well. You really are.
Okay, can you ask him why it always shows the periscope coming from the bottom? Or from the top?
You mean coming from the top?
Yes. I have been giving David's dad shit.
I said, do you know why it always comes down from the top in movies and stuff?
Yeah. I am shooketh. I really am.
Shooketh.
I don't know what to say right now. That really like threw me for a loop.
What if we just became an ASMR podcast?
Yeah. Just change course right now.
Hello and welcome to the podcast.
I don't know if anybody would want to hear that. I love you so much, but I don't know if people want to hear in their ears.
What the fuck?
No, I love you guys.
That wasn't my, I have to lean over a whole keyboard and everything. That's not my best work.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank you. I forgive you.
Hailey,
yes.
I saw Sweeney Todd this past Sunday.
I know. How was it?
It was incredible. I'm sorry. I just had to tell you. It was amazing. And I'm really upset because I went to a 2-day show. I went to the matinee. And understandably, my husband, Josh Groban, he was a little, he has a 2-show day. So he had to get ready for the next show and just wanted to chill. So I understand him not coming out to see me, but I was still really bummed that he didn't come out to see me. It's fine.
We're seeing it on a Sunday.
Is it when are you going?
It's a 1-show day.
I might.
We're seeing Sweeney November 5th.
I might crash that day and come with you. Oh no, I'm gonna have tech.
Okay.
I'm gonna have tech. I can't. I still want to see it again though.
That's also the weekend we're seeing Merrily We Roll Along.
That's the podcast.
I'm really hoping that all 3 of them are still there.
I think they will be. I think they will be. I have good feelings.
Do they come out in stage door?
I don't know if they do. I would imagine that they do, but I don't know that.
Well, I don't know. People are fucking nuts lately. So
I know. So that's why, I don't blame them.
Don't.
Yeah.
5 days ago on YouTube, Jonathan Groff stage door at Merrily We Roll Along. So I might get to meet Jonathan Groff at least.
I'm gonna pee my pants. I
would throw up if I met Jonathan Groff.
Literally just thinking about meeting
Daniel
Josh
Radcliffe
Groban.
5 days ago, Merrily We Roll Along. Oh man, this is not gonna be good for me. This is gonna be bad for my heart.
No, it's gonna be amazing for you. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait for you. Oh, and I just went on a day trip and I got Magnolia Baker. Have you had their banana pudding? Magnolia Bakery's banana pudding.
I don't like bananas.
Why the fuck do all of my friends hate banana? It makes me so mad.
I didn't
David
say I
doesn't
hated
like
it.
banana.
To be fair, I do hate it,
Munir
but I didn't
doesn't
say
like
that.
banana. You don't like banana. Those are my 3 best friends.
Because banana's disgusting.
What do you mean? It's so good.
Bananas are gross. They're so
good.
gross. The texture is gross. The flavor is gross. Banana flavored candy is gross. Bananas are nasty, and I
don't know why
stand
we're
by it.
friends. I literally don't understand this. This is I hate
That was
everything.
rude and it hurt my feelings.
I didn't know your dad was on a naval base. I didn't know you were born on a naval base and you don't like bananas. See, you not being able to eat peanut butter is not a decision that is yours to make. You're allergic. That really hurts my heart. And
that doesn't stop you from shoving it in my mouth.
Listen, I just want you to enjoy.
Literally.
I just want you to enjoy peanut butter, okay?
You want me dead.
It hurts me that you...
I have an allergic reaction.
Okay.
I have a peanut allergy, everyone. And every time Madison bakes her fucking no-bakes, she tries to bribe me with money.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
Good.
She tries to bribe me. One time we were at the movies and she literally was shoving Reese's Pieces in my mouth.
I was.
Do you say Reese's Pieces or Reese's Pieces?
I say Reese's Pieces, but I know it's Reese's Pieces.
Okay, cool.
So like I get it.
Same here. Like I know in my soul I'm wrong, but I'll never stop.
Exactly. I'm with you. I totally get it. But listen, okay, before everybody thinks I'm a monster, Hailey does not go into anaphylactic shock or anything.
We don't know.
Like hives. We do know though, Hailey. We do know. It has been proven.
It could have mutated since I was in 6th grade.
Into anaphylactic shock. She does not break out into hives. Hailey just gets an upset tummy. So while having an upset tummy, yes, does suck.
I vomit for 24 hours.
I want my best friend to experience the joys of peanut butter. So does that make me a bad person?
Not an upset
I don't
tummy.
think that it does. I don't think me wanting my best friend to experience.
Would you still
lovely,
do this if you knew I went into anaphylactic shock? Because I'm not convinced that you wouldn't.
No, well, would you have?
I'm not convinced that you wouldn't be like, just one little piece. Just one little Reese's candy.
But it's so good.
Hailey. Here, I'll give you a Benadryl, and then you have some of my no-bakes. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I just want you to experience the happiness that I do when I had peanut butter. That doesn't make me a bad friend.
Sure, it's wonderful.
That makes me a loving, caring friend.
No. It doesn't make you a bad friend. But it does. It's a little fucked up.
It is a little fucked up.
That's all.
But, like, I'm just saying, sometimes to experience the joys in life, we have to go through a little pain. And that's all I'll say. Anyway.
Okay. So in 2012, there was a man named Dave Krupa, and he was a newly single man. He had just broken up with his longtime girlfriend, Amy Flora, and he decided to, like, sign up for an online dating site where he met a woman named Liz Golyar.
Okay.
They began seeing each other, but then before it could get too serious, Krupa reportedly let Liz know that he wasn't looking for anything serious, and she said she was happy with that arrangement, so they continued seeing each other until, like, several months later, he meets this woman named Cari Farver.
Okay.
She walks into his auto repair shop, and he just immediately knew there was something about her. Krupa later told ABC News, "When we looked at each other, there was a little spark. She's showing me something inside the vehicle, and we're standing there, and we're very close, and there was some tension." So, yeah, he asked her out on a date, and they discussed that neither of them was looking for, like, an exclusive relationship. The two went back to his apartment, and as Farver was later leaving, she passed a woman in the hallway. It was Liz.
Okay.
Who had dropped by just to pick up some of her things. Within weeks of meeting Farver, Dave was beginning to rethink his commitment to bachelorhood. She still wanted to keep things casual, but she did agree to stay with him for a few nights in November of 2012. she was working on a major project at her job, and Dave's apartment was closer to her office than her home was. But the last time anyone saw Cari alive was November 13th, 2012.
Oh, shit.
She spent the night with Dave, and he gave her a kiss as she left for work, but she never returned. A few hours later, Dave received a weird text from Cari. She said she wanted to officially move in with him, despite the fact that they just talked about keeping things casual.
Okay, can I ask a quick question real quick?
Yes.
Okay, Liz and Cari were the two that he was dating, correct?
Yes.
Is Liz an ex-girlfriend now, or is he still casually dating her?
I think he's kind of casually seeing everybody.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be clear.
Like, I think he's definitely closer with Cari now than he is with Liz, but I feel like it's just, he's just playing the field, you know?
Nothing wrong with that. You're like open and honest with everybody.
Real turd.
Is he, though? He communicated with everybody, like, what he wanted.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Okay. All right. I'll buckle in.
As soon as Dave texted Cari back saying, like, hey, that's not what we just talked about, she sent him a text back that said, fine, I don't ever want to see you again. Go away. I'm dating somebody else. I hate you.
The fuck?
Cari's family also started to receive text messages. Her mother, Nancy, got a message from Cari saying she had to move to Kansas for a new job and that she'd be in touch later to make arrangements about picking up her 15-year-old son, Max.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Liz and Dave are starting to kind of get closer because they are both starting to receive threatening messages from Cari.
Okay.
Like, very stalker stuff is going on. Like, they're getting messages from Cari saying, like, I see what you're wearing. I know what you're doing. That kind of stuff. And so they both begin to get closer because of it. One night, things go kind of off the wall when Liz calls Dave and says that her house has been set on fire.
The fuck?
Her house had been, set on fire, and her pets had died in the fire.
Oh my gosh.
And Dave soon received a text from Cari's number that said, I'm not lying. I set that nasty whore's house on fire. I hope the whore and her kids die in it.
Holy shit.
And some of these, like, threatening messages would come through while Dave was in the same room with Liz.
Uh-huh.
So he never suspected that she could be behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Or that, like, you know, he never thought that it was anyone but Cari doing this. But then Cari missed her half-brother's wedding. And then she missed her father's funeral.
Oh, shit.
And that's when her mom, Nancy, knew that something was, like, definitely wrong. Her mom told authorities to try and get in touch with her. She, like, did a wellness check. She told them that Cari was previously diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which led investigators to believe that she just stopped taking her medication and left kind of on her own. And in the spring of 2015, detectives Ryan Avis and Jim Doty of the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office in Council Bluffs started an investigation into Cari's whereabouts. They suspected that she was dead, but they weren't sure when or how she died. Okay. They searched her abandoned car shortly after her disappearance, but then they checked it again more thoroughly in 2015, and they found blood stains beneath the fabric of the passenger seat.
Didn't you say that she had a son?
Yes, a 15-year-old son named Max. So
and
she had told her mom that she would be making arrangements to come pick him up.
And just that never happened.
Correct.
Okay.
So, like, she missed
picking up her son. She missed her half-brother's wedding and her father's funeral. Yep. Okay.
So she missed all that. And, like, I think it was the father's funeral that really, like, tipped her off. That, she wouldn't miss this. So then they asked to see Liz and Dave's phones. And they downloaded the contents of their phones for the investigation. And digital forensics found something not quite right on Liz's phone. They found photos of Cari's car, 20 to 30 fake email accounts, and an app that allowed her to schedule text messages to be sent at a future time.
Yikes.
So the detective zeroed in on Liz, and when she suspected that they might be onto her, she told them that she thought Dave's ex-girlfriend, Amy Flora, who I mentioned earlier, had killed Cari and had been the one harassing them all along.
That came out of left field.
And shortly after she told them that, Liz called 911 from Big Lake Park in Council Bluffs and said Flora had shot her in the leg.
What the fuck?
So she blames Flora for the harassment, for the fire, and now for shooting her in the leg.
This is the first time we're hearing about this.
But little did Liz know, Amy Flora had a solid alibi for the time when she supposedly shot Liz in the leg. So things are starting to seem really weird. Liz is starting to act really strange. The final nail in the coffin comes when detectives search her tablet. Because on the SD card, police found thousands of deleted images, including one of Cari Farver's decomposing body.
Oh.
Liz had stabbed Cari to death in her own car on or around November 13th, 2012. She then spent 3 years sending 15,000 emails and up to 50,000 text messages posing as Cari to cover her crime.
Oh.
She even burned down her own house, killed her pets, and shot herself in the leg to make her lies seem more believable.
Holy shit.
In 2017, Liz was convicted of first-degree murder and second-degree arson, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dave Krupa was obviously shocked by how everything kind of unfolded. He said, "I want Liz to go away and never do this to anybody again. Nancy and Cari's son were foremost in my mind. They are unfortunately the ones that have to live with the repercussions."
Jeez.
So, yeah, that's kind
and
of
all
that's
just
the story
to get
of
David, just to have him for herself.
Pretty much. Like, it's... I came across this story. Christian was watching it on... was watching a video on TikTok, and he was like, "Babe, you gotta see this." And it was someone talking about this case. And every second, my jaw was just... I was like, this can't get any crazier. And then it would.
That's fucking bananas. I'm sorry, you don't like bananas. It's crazy.
I feel so bad for, obviously, like, Cari and her family. All for something so... She died over something so stupid. Like,
you said 3 years.
It's a guy.
She kept that on. She kept it up.
Yeah,
that's
15,000 emails and 50,000 text messages.
That is sick.
Burned down her own house, killed her own pets, shot her own leg.
Holy fuck.
I can't even imagine, like, being that, like, sick in the head that that's what you do.
No.
All for a guy.
No. Ikey crikey. So this is also, like, it's not a recent case, but there have been recent developments in the case. So that's why I wanted to cover this one. And this is the missing persons case of Alissa Turney. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to
have.
go into this one. Okay, so Alissa Turney was born on April 3rd, 1984 to Barbara Farner and Stephen Strom, but whenever she was 3, her parents divorced and her mother remarried a man named Michael Turney. Michael, he had 3 kids from a previous relationship, and they blended their family together, and soon after Barbara and Michael married, they had a daughter together named Sarah. So Michael adopted Alissa, so then now she would have the same last name as her half-sister, Sarah. When Alissa was 9, unfortunately, her mother, Barbara, passed away from lung cancer, which left her stepdad, Michael, to take care of her and her half-sister, Sarah, on his own. And at this point, his 4 other children were already grown up and moved out of the house. So fast forward to age 17. Alissa was the typical 90s teenager. She was an average student. She liked to have fun, spend time with friends. She worked a part-time job at Jack in the Box, and she had really big dreams of leaving her Paradise Valley home to go to California. One of her stepbrothers, James, recalled that Alissa loved to read and draw and was, quote, incredibly social and had an incredible smile. And he also noted that she had a pretty tense and unpleasant relationship with their father, Michael. And this came from multiple sources, including James, that it was noted Michael was very strict and controlling at home. Alissa's friends even noted how strict her stepfather was, as she would often complain about how protective he was. And Michael even admitted to this in 2009. In an interview, he agreed that he was, quote, very strict, and claimed it was, quote, more of a task for a parent to protect Alissa and keeping her in school. And so, like, when you think of strict parent, like, I think of, like, the helicopter parent and, like, someone who won't let their kids go out, or, like, everything's very limited. But Michael Turney was 500 times more than whatever you're imagining this strict parent to be. It was to the point where it was obsessive. He had his home covered in surveillance cameras, and no, not on the outside, on the inside, which gave Michael constant unlimited access over his children. There was even one inside of an air vent in the hallway as, like, to spy on them. At the time of her disappearance, Alissa's boyfriend said that she knew that her dad, Michael, was watching her. Every single phone conversation was recorded. Any incoming or outgoing calls, 100% of the time, they were always being recorded. And I just also want to mention, this is like in the early 2000s. Whenever it comes to security cameras and, like, recording things from your phone, those are a fairly new technology that people don't usually have in their lives, or they're just starting to have in their lives. It's not something that's very normal. So the fact that we're in the early 2000s and we're doing all this is a bit bananas, let alone, like, modern day times and thinking of, like, surveillance cameras and whatnot. He also, Michael, admitted to having binoculars that he would use to spy on Alissa while she was at work in Jack in the Box, just to make sure that she was working, I guess. He also claimed the videos were recorded because they were just home videos, and it was done because he loved his family and he'd been doing it for so long. He'd been doing it for as long as he could remember. And he claimed most of the interior cameras were for security. And at one point he added, why? Because I want to spy on everybody? And he just, like, turned his head and laughed, which is very unsettling. It's very important that I bring all of this up now. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this man's a creep.
He is a creep to the nth degree. And I want to make sure that I bring this up now, because if I don't bring it up now, everything I explain next will not make sense. It'll just sound crazy. So, like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't really a secret that Alissa really wanted to one day, like, leave and go to California. She mentioned it all the time. In 2000, she actually wrote in a driver's ed essay that she had calculated how long and far it would take to go to California from where she was in Arizona. And in 2001, in a phone conversation with her boyfriend, because remember, they were all recorded, she asked him, would your parents let you go to California with me? And right before her disappearance, Alissa asked one of her older brothers if she could live with him. And Michael Turney even asked her maternal aunt, who lived in California, to take her for the summer. And her aunt agreed. She was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, just have her come over and we can just hang out and spend time together. So May 17th, 2001 was Alissa's last day of junior year. Her boyfriend, John Lockman, said that Alissa popped into his woodworking class to tell him, like, hey, my stepdad is going to pick me up from school early and we're going to go to lunch. So Michael said that they went out for lunch and their conversation turned into an argument when Alissa said that she wanted to stay out later that evening with her friends. And Michael, being very protective, said, quote, that's just not going to happen. You know, as long as you're under my roof, we're going to have to check in with daddy because daddy's a nervous wreck if you don't. Which, that gives me such icky vibes. Such icky vibes. This story reminds me of like Bev and her dad from It. It's just awful. It's not good. So he said that Alissa, again, wanting to leave home for the last year or so and wanted to live somewhere else. And Michael said that I didn't think she was ready. I didn't want her to. I wanted her to stay with me. Michael says that after their argument at lunch, he took her home around 1 o'clock and then he went to run some errands. Michael said that whenever he got home, he found a note in Alissa's bedroom, and whenever he saw it, his heart, quote, completely stopped. It's alleged to be written by Alissa, and it said that she was running away to California. And the note read, "Dad and Sarah, when you dropped me off at school today, I decided I really am going to California. Sarah, you said you really wanted me gone. Now you have it. Dad, I took $300 from you. That's why I saved my money." Alissa never showed up to the party that she planned on going that evening, the one that she got into an argument with her father about. And being just 12, Sarah didn't really think much of the note. She just figured that Alissa would be back. It never even crossed her mind that she would never see her sister again. Michael said that he called around to try to figure out where she was, and eventually he called the police to report her missing. Now, if you've been following true crime long enough, you'll know it's very common that the police don't take missing persons cases super seriously when there are claims of a runaway. And this is exactly what happened in Alissa's case. The Phoenix police get thousands of similar reports each year, so they believe this was another teen runaway, which, okay, I understand that when you have teens who run away and it seems like it's a habit, or it seems like that's the thing, like, it can be very easy to brush it under the rug. But the thing that I have a really hard time with is they're still minors. Like, they can't make that decision for themselves. They're legally not allowed to. So if you have a teen runaway, I don't understand how it gets swept under the rug so often whenever that is still a minor child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. That's just me ranting. So, a week after Alissa disappeared, Michael said he received a phone call at home early in the morning, and he said he knew it was Alissa's voice, and that the conversation was sort of scrambled. He said he asked if it was her, and Alissa said, "Leave me alone," and then cussed him out. And remember how Michael has all this security and records every phone conversation? Police are like, this is fantastic. This is great. Maybe we can get some clues from it if you're recording everything. But guess what? Conveniently, Michael's 24/7 phone recording system was not turned on during this call from Alissa, and he missed it. Now, this phone system was on all the time. It recorded everything, and there were years of phone calls that were saved. And this is the single most important call of your life, and the system just happens to spectacularly fail that one time. I don't think so. But it gets worse. So eventually, Michael was able to obtain a phone record that showed a call originated from a payphone in Riverside, California, which is about an hour from where Alissa's aunt lived. But really, this could have been anyone. We don't know who made the call, and I'm trying really hard to present all the facts to be fair in this story, but I can't hide my bias from this case. Michael went to Riverside and passed out flyers, but nothing was fruitful. He also registered Alissa as missing with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And her family, after a couple years, started to believe that she really did just run away. Even her stepbrother said how he knew how scared Alissa was of Michael, her stepfather, and it was likely that she fled after an argument. But her brother James did note that it was very odd that she never went to him or her aunt, because remember, she had done that before. She came to him when she wanted to move in with him, or she went to her aunt whenever she wanted to move in with her. And he said it was odd that she had so many options of places to go, but she just vanished. And this is pretty much where the story stalls out. There are 0 sightings, 0 leads, nothing for years. That is until 2006. 7 years went by now without any news until one day, a man named Thomas Heimer, who was serving a life sentence in Florida, falsely confessed to killing Alissa. This was very quickly sorted out and debunked, but it made the officer start to question whether Alissa actually ran away or if something else happened to her. So they decided they were going to take a second look into the case. During the reinvestigation, the Phoenix PD interviewed 200 people who knew Alissa, and in the process, they learned some pretty disturbing information about Michael Turney and some red flags that were previously unnoticed. So Alissa was working this job at Jack in the Box, and even in her note, she said that she was saving her money to go to California, right? Well, she had about $1,800 in savings, and despite saying that she was going to use this to run away, none of it was ever spent. One officer even said, when people run away, they don't leave a note to say where they're going because they don't want to be found. And she definitely has money that she's intending on spending to run away, and none of it is used. Alissa also left her cell phone behind, and as detectives dug more into her personal life, Alissa's friends had some very shocking things to say about Michael. Every person would continuously point to Alissa's relationship with her stepfather as being a source of contention and a negative aspect in her life. Her friends also claimed that Alissa confided in them that Michael had attempted to molest her. Her boyfriend at the same time said separately that Alissa told him something very similar. So from multiple different sources, they're getting the same type of information. There was one instance where Alissa had told her friends that she had woken up tied to a chair, gagged, and with Michael on top of her. And police were very quick to note the clear obsession that Michael had with Alissa and how much of it he actually admitted to. The extreme surveillance, for example. He readily admitted to all of it. Sarah's little sister at the time said, "If you had asked me then if I thought my father had any involvement, I would have said no. But over the years, he had so many renditions of what happened that day, something wasn't right." In December 2008, Sarah Turney was requested to come to the police headquarters where they told her, quote, "We think your father did it. Your house is being raided. Also, your father probably molested your sister." So poor Sarah is just having all of these bombs dropped on her one at a time as the police are raiding their home. And they were able to retrieve hours and hours of home surveillance footage. And in another strange coincidence, there was zero footage from the day Alissa disappeared. Nothing. Again, the most important day that this is probably handy, and just poof, gone. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The detectives also found disturbing contracts that were drawn up by Michael and made to sign by Alissa. One of these contracts went into extensive detail about what he was making Alissa agree to do or not do until she was 18. And a forensic psychologist, Dr. Aaron Nelson, noted that it contains all kinds of specifics about sexual content, which is disgusting. The contract also included rules for Alissa to follow about not drinking alcohol or using drugs. And worst of all, another document was a statement which indicated that Michael Turney had never physically or sexually abused her. So if I make you sign a contract, Hailey, that says, just so everyone knows, I did not force Hailey to eat Reese's Pieces in a movie theater parking lot, we're all going to think that's exactly what happened. Like, that shouldn't have to be said. You shouldn't have to have a signed contract saying that. Who should be thinking that? Nobody. Nobody should be thinking that.
That's very, very weird. Very odd behavior.
It's awful. Yes. So Michael was asked if he thought that those contracts were strange for a parent, and his response was, well, it depends on who you talk to. If it would have avoided anything happening to my daughter, yes. I don't think it was far beyond. At the time, I look back at it because she ran away as a result of that. Yeah, of course I feel bad about that. Also, these are exact quotes, so if they're not like grammatically correct, I apologize, but they're direct quotes, and that's why I stumbled through that one a little bit. Perhaps most shocking of them all, because it does get a bit more strange, When the police conducted this raid of his home, they found over 24 improvised explosive devices, 19 firearms, 2 silencers, and a document called Diary of a Madman Martyr, which detailed what police say seemed like a plan to attack an electrical workers union building in Phoenix. Detectives say this document also mentions Michael's belief that assassins were hired by this electrical union to murder Alissa and then dump her body in Desert Center, California.
But why? Why?
Just
that
like
makes no sense.
Bananas.
Why?
No reason. No reason, right?
Like, why would you, like, what?
Like, it's just...
Your daughter disappears and your first thought is, it's the unions. Why?
It's hired assassins from the union workers.
What a...
It's fucking dumb.
Little man.
And Michael's defense for these things that they found, he says, they're just firecrackers. A few things to make noise. Start a fire. I wanted to bring attention to Alissa.
So,
again,
that sounds like he had a plan to go blow some shit up, to me.
Yes, right? I wanted to bring attention to Alissa. Just firecrackers. Just things to start a fire. The fuck? He denied the alleged bombing plan, saying that sounded crazy, and why would he murder a bunch of innocent people? So he went on to plead guilty to lawful possession of unregistered destructive devices. Other charges were dismissed as part of his plea deal, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison and was released in 2017. Now, a quick look at Sarah Turney. She was reeling from what police told her way back in 2008, and she began to piece things together for herself. She went from thinking that her father couldn't possibly have anything to do with her sister's disappearance to urging the Maricopa DA to take action against her father. Around the time her father was released from prison in 2017 from those possession of firearms charges, Sarah started her social media campaign across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for Alissa Turney. And she even started her own podcast called Voices for Justice, which was about Alissa's case. And in April of 2020, peak pandemic, she made a TikTok which blew up across the country and quickly built up hundreds of thousands of followers. And to this date, it has over 1 million followers on TikTok alone. About the rapid exposure, Sarah said, "It's so incredibly embarrassing, but so incredibly effective. I'm just trying to use those TikTok algorithms to spread the word. I take a popular concept or sound and try to apply it to Alissa's case." And in one of her TikTok videos, Sarah shared a home video from 1997 where Alissa can be heard saying, quote, "Sarah, Dad's a pervert." In another TikTok, Sarah secretly recorded her father and asked him point blank about Alissa Turney's disappearance. "Be there at my deathbed, Sarah, and I'll give you all the honest answers you want to hear," is what her dad tells her in the clip. And when Sarah asks, "Why don't you give them to me now?" Michael replies, "Because you've got them now." She stopped speaking to her father soon after her account went viral, but in the summer of 2020, the investigation took another twist. On August 20th, 2020, although authorities had not found Alissa's body and had no forensic evidence linking Turney to the murder, Michael Turney was arrested, indicted, and charged with the second-degree murder of Alissa Turney. And police didn't mention how they came to arrest him or if Sarah's social media presence did anything, but it was very clear that it did. And County Attorney Alistair Adele acknowledged Sarah's campaign in a press conference saying, "Sarah Turney, your perseverance and commitment to finding justice for your sister Alissa is a testament to the love of a sister. Because of that love, Alissa's light has never gone out, and she lives on in the stories and photos you've shared with the community. This passion you demonstrated to her during your journey is something that will keep Alissa's memory alive forever." Sarah says that she feels like this has been her calling to find answers for her sister and try to give voices to the voiceless. And I really hate to end on a low note after all of these really good sisterly love feelings, but I have to. Just this past July, 2023, Michael Turney was acquitted by a judge of Alissa's murder. Michael's defense attorneys submitted a motion for the judge for an acquittal, citing Rule 20 of the Arizona Rules of Criminals Procedure, which states that, quote, The court must enter a judgment of acquittal if there is no substantial evidence to support a conviction. It was argued that the state did not present any physical evidence that Alissa Turney is dead and their client caused her death. In response to the defense's motion, the Deputy County Attorney Vince Imbordino told the judge that Alissa Turney had been a 17-year-old girl with friends, family, prized possessions, and she would have been in contact if she was still alive. Judge Sam Myers ruled in favor of the defense. All charges were dropped, and Michael Turney was released from custody on Tuesday, July 18th of this year, 2023. After the dismissal, one of the defense attorneys said that he is happy the judge saw it this way, and he's excited that he'll be able to get out of custody. And Michael's still obviously very concerned about the case and Alissa and trying to find who actually killed her. And I do want to say that although this is not the outcome anyone was hoping for, Sarah actually agrees with the judge's ruling. And she said that she was disappointed in the evidence, or lack thereof, that the DA brought to the courtroom on her sister's behalf. You can hear Alissa speak more about this on her podcast and on the August 25th episode of Crime Junkies of this year. She does an interview with them, and she gets very, she goes into a little bit more about like what happened behind the scenes. But in short, she felt like it seemed very clear that the DA was very unfamiliar with the case, and it showed in how they presented their evidence to the judge. Sarah said that she completely understands like why the judge overturned it, because they didn't prove that Alissa was dead. They didn't prove that it was Michael who had did it. They didn't really do anything that they needed to do. But despite this, two of Alissa's siblings, Sarah and James Turney, these are Michael's biological kids, Sarah and Alissa's step-siblings, they released a statement on Sarah's podcast, Voices for Justice, and they expressed their gratitude for all the support they've received through the years. They thanked the detectives at the Phoenix Police Department and the nonprofit organization Defenders of Children, and they also thanked the true crime community. And Sarah said, "You've become Alissa's army and surrounded us with love. I will never forget that." Sarah also addressed her sister Alissa directly, and she said, "I love you and I'm sorry." And she said, "You have moved mountains to protect me and the reality of our lives so I could have the best childhood possible. That is something I can never repay you for. I just hope you know that I tried and that you deserved so much better." And I just want to comment lastly on how Sarah sounds especially in this interview with her on Crime Junkies. And she just sounds so poignant, but admits that she finally feels at peace, even though that the court ruled otherwise. She feels like she has closure from this process and is working to dedicate time for herself. And I mean, like, nothing else can be done. There's double jeopardy, so her dad can never be tried again for this case. Like, it's over. That's it. So at least knowing that is it and it is over, not having to go through any more acquittals or appeals or anything like that, like, she does feel some type of closure from the process. For her entire life, she's dedicated everything to finding justice for her sister, and now she feels like she can breathe and take some time to find herself and her next calling, which I hope that she does, and she's already doing an amazing job of that. So yeah, that's the story of Alissa Turney.
It's so sad when people are bad at their jobs and leads to shit like this.
Yeah, and like that's why you hear in so many true crime stories about people not feeling like they have enough evidence to arrest somebody and actually accuse them of murder, because then you have to, like, once you arrest them, you can't arrest them again if they are found not guilty. Like, it's like a one and done thing. So that's why you'll see in a lot of cases why they wait so long to make an arrest until they feel like they have enough evidence. So while I am happy that he was arrested at some point, I feel like they should have made sure that they had a strong enough case to actually convict and get it to stick. Because they did something right. They did something right the first time. Like, obviously, with everything presented, they were able to get the judges and the jury's attention and get him convicted. But then repeating that during his acquittal, something fell through. And it's very clear, if you don't have all of the evidence, if you don't have everything in front of you, like we just did here, it's clear, like, of course, you don't have a body. Like,
Right.
you don't have a body. There's no forensic evidence. It's all circumstantial. And although I am very much a firm believer that circumstantial evidence is evidence, it's really hard in cases like this. And it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
it's just
that's all I got.
sad. It's always sad when
It's a
these
shame.
kids
It's a shame.
disappear
And, like,
and there's a very clear answer
Yeah.
and it's nobody listens or nobody believes it or whatever. Like,
No.
yeah, they don't have a body, but like she would have contacted somebody at some point, especially after all this fuss.
She already went to her brother.
Like, after everything Sarah did, if she had been alive this whole time,
like,
she would have reached out and said something.
What she needed to do.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
But I do love that story, just showing the power of, like, what one person's voice can do. Especially because I know so many people in these stories feel so helpless. But one thing that is, like, that I've really loved about listening to Crime Junkies, one of my other favorite podcasts, is I love how many stories that they do where it just shows you how the louder you are, the more of a fuss you make about your loved one in their cases, the more attention that they're going to get. So, like, if you think that there's nothing that you can do, like, you can. You just need to be the loudest, most annoying whistle in the box. I don't know what the fuck kind of analogy that was, but that's the only thing I could think of. Well, sorry that was depressing.
It's okay. Man, neither of us had very positive, uplifting stories today,
No.
did we?
No, we didn't. Didn't one of us say the last time we want to do something funny?
Yeah, I thought it was
Who
going
said
to be
that?
you.
Was it you?
It was me. I dropped the ball. That's on me.
It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. You didn't drop the ball.
I heard this. I saw this TikTok and I was like, damn.
No, I love that. I love that story. Okay. Well, thank you all for listening this week. If you want more of us, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at MECrisisPod. You can send us an email at myexistentialcrisispodcast@gmail.com if you have any story ideas, or if you just want to say hi, that's also fine. You can shoot us a DM too. We'll listen to whatever, in whatever way you send it. Carrier pigeon, an owl like Hedwig.
Hedwig's dead.
A train. Fuck you, Hailey.
Am I
I
right?
was trying to bring some light to the end of this podcast, and you just shat all over it. Well,
what can I say, baby?
not Hedwig,
I'm a terrible person.
She's fucking dead. Turtle, if you want to send a message by Turtle, we'll listen to that.
Oh, that would be fun. We'll listen to it?
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah.
Do you, talk to turtles now or some shit?
Yes, I talk to turtles. Turtles sing to me in my sleep.
I didn't know that.
Only when I
Okay,
sleep.
that's weird.
Yeah, well, so am I. Anyway, thank you for listening, and have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.